What's up everyone? Today I'm going to talk about various Bluetooth options for your Z4. If you have any experience with these or any more options, just please leave the comment below just to help others out. So what I'm going to talk about will vary upon what you're looking for. There's price and like model year of your Z4. I'm kind of going to go through the various model years of the Z4 and the options that you may want to do according to that. So I think in the early years of the Z4, maybe 2003 to 2006 possibly, some Z4s had an iPod integration feature, and down here in the glove box, excuse all the mess, but there would have been an iPod cable for, I don't remember which generation iPod, maybe the first or second, and you might want to see if you have that. And I think if you had the cable, you also had a CD changer in the trunk of the car. I'm not so sure, but if you have that, you may want to try a Bluetooth adapter for that iPod connection. I'll leave some links for something that may work. There may be like cheaper ones that say, I've seen that it's like not for the car in parentheses, but you may give it a try, see if it works. If not, just return it. So in my family's history of Z4s, we had a 2004 with the iPod connection, and it was able to skip tracks with these buttons here. So I think it would still work here, and maybe even the steering wheel connections. The only thing with that is you won't be able to use like the mic for telephone calls, obviously, since it's tucked away, but you can just give that a try and see if you can live without the phone or those features if you want to go that route. So something else that you may have spotted is down here in the 2007 to 2008, I believe, it came with a aux input here, and Bluetooth didn't really get super popular until like the mid-teens years. So people still wanted to do this kind of conversion to plug in their phone. But nowadays, since even our phones don't really have audio out ports, I wouldn't do this conversion. Just take advantage of this if you already have it. As you can tell, that leads into one of these. Since my car already had an aux port, I just simply got a Bluetooth adapter to plug that in there. But some pros and cons is obviously, you can use the mic from here on the device if it has it, but it's probably not going to be that good since it's so far away. You also can't really skip tracks except by pressing it, which is okay for me. I have kind of long arms, or you can always press on your phone to skip tracks. And this one has a small battery, so if I actually walk away from the car and get out of range, it will turn off. And if after some time, it won't like automatically connect if you get close either. So that's kind of some pros and cons about that. And I actually leave this plugged in all the time, and I don't really see any problems with it draining my car's battery since it has a small battery. I think it just charges as much as it needs to, which is probably not a lot. All right, so we kind of get to the next one here, is you can use an FM transmitter to set a radio station that isn't used or the frequency is not taken up in your local area, and then you just set it here and you just play the Bluetooth through here and it goes through the radio. And the negative here also is, I guess it's more with the car actually, that the cigarette lighter is always on. So that means this will always be on unless you pull it out, or there's a model that comes with the on and off button, which honestly, when I'm talking about this or The other Bluetooth auxiliary adapter, that is pretty annoying to remember to turn it off sometimes because I just get in and out of the car. Another maybe con about this one, maybe the specific model, is like the screen or the lights. I don't use this. This is borrowed by someone in the family, and maybe driving at night, all the lights could be distracting, or you might just want to get used to it. So when I compared listening to audio with this or through this Bluetooth adapter with the auxiliary input or just straight auxiliary, the audio differences aren't as big as you would think. And so when it comes to this, it sounds pretty good, and I would be pretty happy with it compared to this one. It's just the difference when I switch back and forth is like the input levels of the sound. Well, this one sounds like it has a little bit more clarity in voices, and like the treble is, turned up a bit compared to this. And with some adjustment, I think you could be perfectly happy with the sound quality that you get from this compared to the other option here. And similarly, when it comes to getting from this to this straight input, the gap is actually pretty small, and it just seems to be at a different volume level, just like the other option here, going from that step to this step is just different levels. So it's kind of a little bit hard to compare, but I definitely think that you would be happy with even this. Like, I would say this is the lowest tier one here. So anyways, yeah, if you don't have an auxiliary port, I wouldn't recommend putting it in because of all the work you have to do, especially in today's age when you really just want wireless. And that would kind of lead into the next options that I'm going to talk about. All right, so going to our next option, there is I'm not sure what you call it, like a pigtail that you can attach to the back of the radio with all the wiring. That there's a little, like a Bluetooth dongle that hangs off of it, and that would just run off the auxiliary. I don't have a lot of experience with that, but I'm pretty sure you just connect to it and it streams music to it. I can't say about the quality, and if that actually the power cuts on and off with the radio, which would be nice. And the negative is I don't think that you'd be able to use anything but your phone. Like, you won't have physical buttons to change tracks, so you just have to change tracks on your phone. But it is a very tucked away and neat solution. Another thing I've seen in forums and just this Z4 discussions is people using a Grom unit. That's what they call it. And I think you have to get into the trunk and find all the connections, or I think the amplifier somewhere around there, and just hook it up with the option to, run a microphone through that box somewhere in the car that we can actually hear. And I think that option, it does work with these skip tracks also. So that's pretty nice. But I would skip that option, as nice as it sounds, for the next one, which I think is the best option, is the BlueBus option. It is also installed pretty much the same way as the Grom unit, but from what I read, you get this skip tracks option, but the biggest thing is, I think from what I've read, you get to use, I think this is the microphone, you get to use the in-car phone microphone. So I think that's a big plus. And that's kind of my dream setup one day, if I ever get there. Yeah, I'm not sponsored by them or anything. I think it's just one genius dude that decided to make a solution for the older BMWs, and it just seems to work out perfectly. I'd love to give it a try one day. Another option, probably a really expensive option that people do, is just replace the whole radio. I don't know anything about that, but if you replace the whole radio, you probably got Bluetooth. You can probably get a screen if you wanted. It's probably a lot more complicated too. And I think you need a new like face plate and maybe vents to move around. That could get pretty complicated. Yeah, so let me recap what I listed out. There's the iPod connection, if you have that. There is an auxiliary option that your car may have that I don't recommend you to install if you don't have this. So if you have this, you can plug in a Bluetooth adapter to this port. If you don't have that, the most simple option is the FM transmitter here. Then we have the radio pigtail, which is pretty like neat solution. Not a lot of features. Then there is the Grom, which I would skip for the BlueBus. And then there is the radio option here. So one thing I'm not sure about for a lot of these options is, the power functionality and connectivity. So obviously, since this is always on or plugged in, if you forget and walk in the house, you'll still be connected to it. And you may not realize it, and your phone maybe stay silent because it's sending the notification sounds all the way to your car. And that same goes for this. And the same goes for maybe the iPod connection. I'm not sure if the cable would still give power once the radio's off or the car is off. That's something I don't know. Same with the pigtail behind here with the power, and even same for the BlueBus. I'm not sure if you're still going to be connected to the car even though the radio is off. That's just some things to think about. I mean, you can always, if you ever realize and you're in the house, you just turn off your Bluetooth and hope it just doesn't reconnect to your car right away. Yeah, so just some bonus content here. My setup is running this plugged in, and I have a little cigarette lighter thing with a really short cord here that keeps it neat, something to charge my car. And I have this phone mount, which I think looks pretty neat. I do want to upgrade to the one I have in my wife's car, which is a MagSafe charger, so I don't have to plug in my phone all the time. And I think there's a newer version that has a fan just to keep it cool, because wireless charging does seem to heat up your phone more than wired charging. And I just like the convenience of just slapping my phone on here and just get going. I don't have to worry about cables plugging in and out. Not a big deal, but that's something nice. And lastly, I'm not sure if I want to do this, but I've seen like they have these Android Auto, Apple CarPlay screens that you can attach. It looks pretty modern. And there's some models that I can connect Bluetooth to the screen, and that can Bluetooth out to, maybe whatever other choice I choose to run with here. So yeah, I hope this video helped you. I just maybe recommend trying whatever you feel like for your budget or how much work you want to put in, like, getting to the back of the radio, which I do have a video for that, or just digging out your trunk. I don't know if you want to take that on. Those are a little bit more expensive also compared to this, or that. Just, assess what you have in your car. See if you want to take advantage of the features of your car and just adapt to it, or just do something else. The choice is yours. I hope that, this video helped you in some way. Leave comments below if you have experience with this, or after this video if you get it and you like it or you don't, whatever you choose, it helps other people out. So, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.